continuing on personal branding, we have our next speaker. She's passionate about children and women's empowerment and has started various programs to this effect. In addition to this, she's a co-founder of Sepiso Latu Foundation, a charity organization that aims at empowering women and children in Malawi and in Zambia. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Let us welcome Vanessa Macholowe.
Good afternoon, everybody. I should just firstly say I'm not going to sing or anything. I mean, I wish I could, but I'm not going to. Thank you for inviting me to come and speak here. I am very honored, and I was very excited when you asked me, so thank you. I was going to start with telling you a story about Cinderella, because she's a girl that I can relate to. Because I mean, she went through the most. But I thought, you know what, I think I should tell them about my story. Because a few minutes ago, Odi was telling Margaret that the only way you can tell a story is by telling your own. So I'll tell my story from being nothing to being who I am now. Before I start, I'd like to say that I don't want you to throw a pity party. Look at me as the woman I am today, not the girl I was a few years ago. When I was 4 years old, I lost my mother. And my father raised me until I was 10, and then he died. And you can imagine losing both parents and living with relatives. It can be very awkward. It wasn't great growing up. My childhood wasn't great. It was horrible. I was unloved, belittled, criticized all the time. And I internalized that. I internalized the criticism. I internalized everything that everyone had told me I was not. And I began to be everything that they said I was. Have you noticed how it's so easy to do that? It's so easy to internalize everything that everybody says that you are. And I'm sure that not everybody here can relate to the fact that other people did this to me, but I'm sure sometimes we do it to ourselves. Sometimes we tell ourselves, you know what, you're not good enough because you're too fat. You're not good enough because you're too skinny. You're not good enough because you're too dark, you're too light, you're everything that you shouldn't be. We do that to ourselves. We belittle ourselves. But at the age of 18, I realized that if I don't tell the world who I am, the world will surely tell me who I should be. So I took back my strength. I took back everything I wanted to be. I rebranded myself. And I should just put it out there that personal branding is not a one-day's decision. It's an everyday's decision. You wake up and you choose to brand yourself. You wake up and you choose to be a queen. One of the things that I learned over the years is that consistency is very important. You have to be consistent. For people who know me, they know that every single day I try to look presentable. Yep. Because I believe that you never know who you meet. I might meet my next employer and I'm out here looking shabby. That's not how life is supposed to be. You have to be consistent. You cannot afford to be a queen on one day and the next day you think you want to be like everybody else. Be consistent. You cannot afford to slack if you want to make it in life. When I submitted my bio to Odi, I gave it to a friend of mine, Zoe. She's not here today, but I gave it to her to read. And she looked at me with so much confusion and anger, and she was like, Sisi, why are you selling yourself short? And I looked at her and I was like, but what do you mean? And in her head, she thought I should have added every leadership position that I hold or I've held before, every achievement that I've had. I should have put all of that into the bio that I submitted. But I looked at her and I said, Zoe, it wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary for me to show everybody how great I am. Isn't that what we do all every day? That we think that it's not necessary for us to show the world how great we are? That if you have the answer sometimes in class, you don't want to say it because you don't want to intimidate other people? That you're trying to accommodate everybody. And my friend Zainab, she's always telling me how we try so hard to dumb ourselves down because we're trying to accommodate everybody. We're trying to be like everybody else. But what if you're not supposed to be like everybody else? What if you're actually supposed to be a queen? But how will you ever know that if you're trying to be normal? And I think that it goes back to the cultures that we're brought up in. The fact that in our African cultures, women are supposed to be humble, we're supposed to be, below the men or below everybody else and be very, very, listen to everything that everyone else is. Be quiet. That's what we're told by our mothers and our culture. Be quiet, let the men talk. But I'm here to tell you today that you have something to say as well. You have solutions as well. Why are we waiting for other people to come and tell us you need to stand up, you need to do this? But the power is within. I realized that my power was within. I couldn't sit down and wait for my family to tell me what and who I'm supposed to be. But I stood up and I told them who and what I am. Today I stand before you, like Lola said. I and my best friend started our own charity foundation looking at empowering women and children in Malawi and Zambia. Because I know that there are a lot of women and children who are in the exact same position that I was in a few years ago. And all they need is someone to tell them that they can do it, that they can succeed, that they can be everything that they want to be. I'll go back to your identity. I was speaking to a friend of mine yesterday and I asked him that, what do you think personal branding is about? And he looked at me and he was like, I think that personal branding is an internal thing. What do you see when you look in the mirror? Are you proud of yourself? Because if you can't be proud of you, then who will be proud of you? And that is true. If you can't look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm proud of the person that I am, how do you expect other people to be proud of you? If you cannot clap for yourself, how do you expect other people to clap for you? I believe that every single woman sitting here today has got amazing plans and amazing solutions, amazing programs that they would like to start and implement. But we are so afraid of failing that we don't do it. We are so comfortable with sitting in the crowd and not standing on the stage. We are so comfortable with being normal and not being great. Because once you're in the spotlight, just once you're in the spotlight, everyone sees your greatness, but they can also see your flaws. And that's okay. It's okay that you're not perfect. It's okay that maybe you laugh a little louder than everybody else. It's okay that maybe you talk a little too much. But I'm here to tell you today that you are as great as you think you are. I had to believe that I am as great as I think I am. I haven't figured it all out. I haven't figured out greatness. I haven't figured out how great I'm supposed to be. But I believe I'm great. And that's what makes me who I am today. That's what makes me stand out. Sometimes I don't feel pretty. I've been saying that over the past week a lot. That sometimes I don't feel pretty. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm that great. Sometimes I don't feel like I'll make it in life. But I still show up looking pretty. I still show up acting like I'm pretty. I still show up acting like I've got it all figured out, even when I don't. I like Vareto's song that, basically saying that whatever you're going through in life, keep going and keep smiling and keep slaying while you do it. Yeah. You can't afford to slack just because things are going wrong. You can't afford to go to class one day looking shabby just because you're going through a heartbreak. Queens don't do that. Yeah. Have you seen these movies that, when the princesses are going through the most, they still expect them to go to the functions looking pretty and looking perfect? That's how life is supposed to be. Sorry, excuse me. That's how life is supposed to be. So, I'm glad that I was able to share my story. I think that what I was going to say today would have had a lot of loopholes if I hadn't told where I'm coming from. A lot of times people will not be able to understand who you are, and I'll come here and I'll tell you how great life is. And you'll just be like, yeah, she hasn't been through it. She doesn't know what it means to fail. She doesn't know what it means to have nothing. I was nobody at a point. There was a point in my life when, even school, I was really bad. But I realized how great I am. And that's what I'm asking you guys to do today. That's to realize how great you are. Be confident in what you are and who you are. Be confident in knowing that you're a queen, even if you don't feel like it sometimes. And one thing that I've also picked up on is having the right friends. Have the right support system. People who will remind you who you are when you've forgotten. You can't have friends who will push you down when you're already pulling yourself down. You can't afford to have that. You have to have friends who come to events like this and sit in the crowd and cheer you on. Friends who will take videos of you performing or talking. Friends who will tell you that, Vanessa, you might be going through this right now, but you are great. That you will get through it. That's about building your personal brand. Because sometimes, there are times when I don't feel like showing up. There are times when I don't even want to see the world. But I have friends who remind me who I am, remind me who I used to be, and remind me that I'm not that person anymore. Lastly, I'd like to speak about learning from others. Learn from other people's mistakes. Learn from other people's problems. Building your self-brand, building your personal brand does not mean you're selfish. Does not mean that you do not see where other people have gone wrong and you learn from that. Learn from other people's wisdom. Learn from the things that your mothers tell you. So often, we don't listen to our mothers, our aunties, at church or at home because we feel like they don't understand where we're at right now in life. But they get it. And learn from that. Learn from it. Before I finish, I would like to read out lyrics to you. I would have sang them if I could, but I can't. So I'd like to read out these lyrics to you. So this is one of my favorite songs, and this is Read All About It by Emily Sandé. And I think that so often we sing things and we don't exactly know what they mean. So I'll read it very slowly. You've got the words to change a nation, but you're biting your tongue. You spent a lifetime stuck in silence, afraid you'll say something wrong. If no one ever hears it, how are we going to learn your song? So come on, come on, come on. You've got a heart as loud as lions, so why let your voice be tamed? Baby, we're a little different. There's no need to be ashamed. You've got the light to fight the shadows, so stop hiding it away. Come on, come on, come on. And I think that's something you should remind yourself every single day, that you've got it in you to be great. You've got it in you to be great. And lastly, make other people great too. Don't go a day without complimenting another person. Don't go a day without saying, oh no, I love your hair. I love your personality. I love your heart. It doesn't mean that when you tell someone else something good about them, it takes away from your beauty. But I thought of something really great last night when I was in the common room. And I thought that, sometimes, so often us as women, we think that if we light another person's candle, it makes our candle stop shining as bright. But I think, and I'm telling you today, that when you light another person's candle, it makes the whole world a brighter place. So be your sister's keeper. Help your sister be effective in her personal branding. Don't bring each other down, because too often we do that. Too often we bring each other down. If you know your friend is afraid to do something, cheer her on. If you know your friend has got a great idea, cheer her on. It's not about you being better than everybody else. A true leader and a true woman is one who builds, not one who destroys.